What is cortex? The region between the epidermis and the area which covers the stele, the region from the epidermal part to the stellar part. Like for example, if it is epidermis, here to this area is called as cortex. Okay, in cortex it is made up of parenchymatous tissues. More parenchyma is present. Okay, the immediate layer after epidermis, if we consider it as epidermis, this is the cuticle. The immediate layers below the epidermis are called as hypodermis. Okay, now in hypodermis is parenchymatous normally. In rapidly growing stems, petioles, all that, the hypodermis is made up of sclerenchyma. Okay, for example, in helianthus, examples are very important. In helianthus, sunflower, the hypodermis, it is circular. What is circular here? We are talking in terms of hypodermis, whereas in cucurbita it will be in the form of below the ridges. And in monocots it is made up of sclerenchyma. So these are important. Like cortex is the ground tissue which is starting from the epidermis to till the outer covering of stellar region. It is made up of mostly parenchyma. The immediate layer below the epidermis is hypodermis, and it is made up of sclerenchyma. In helianthus it is found in a circular pattern. In cucurbita it is below the ridges, and in monocots it is made up of again sclerenchyma. Okay, in the young roots the hypodermis is made up of parenchyma. Now in young roots the hypodermis is made up of parenchyma. In mature roots the hypodermis is ruptured due to the deposition of suberin in them. This is important. These all will come under your objective points. And now this, as we said, cortex is made up of parenchyma. The parenchyma cells are loosely arranged with intercellular spaces. Okay, as I said earlier, the cells of the cortex are made up of parenchyma cells, and these cells are having intercellular spaces. Now when we talk about the shape, what will be the shape of the cortex cells? The shape of the cortex cells will be spherical, elongated, or stellate. Okay. Now in some water plants or hydrophytic plants, these parenchyma cells become elongated and develop into cavity like structures which help in the maintenance of the water balance in the hydrophytic plants. Then those type of parenchyma cells, as we earlier studied, erenchyma, called as erenchyma. In addition to this, there are some, in addition to parenchymatous tissue or parenchymatous cells, the ground tissue also has some other tissues like laticiferous tissues. We have tannins, gums, resins, starch grains are also possible are also present in the cortex and also give protection to the cortex. Okay, next, what are the functions? When we come to the functions, in addition to this, we have laticiferous tissues. In addition to this, we have laticiferous tissues. In addition to what? In addition to parenchyma, we have laticiferous, tannins, gums are present. It is also having starch grains. Okay, in cortex, parenchyma cells are in abundance. In some hydrophytic plants, you will see the presence of erenchyma, which helps in maintenance of water balance, as I said earlier. In addition to that, it also has laticiferous, tannins, gums and in starch grains, also starch grains. Now in roots, in all the roots, the cortex is made up of parenchyma cells. Okay, this is about cortex. Next one is, we will talk about functions of cortex. The functions of cortex, under this we can talk about hypodermis. What is hypodermis is helpful for? Hypodermis is helpful for giving tensile and mechanical strength. So the hypodermis main function in the cortex will be, it will be providing tensile and mechanical strength. Cortical cells are also useful for storage of food. Cortical cells are also useful for the storage of food material. Now there are some green chlorophyll tissues or chloroplast, chlorophyll, or there are some chlorenchymatous cells which are also helpful in undergoing photosynthesis. By chlorenchymatous cells. Okay. Now, what is the major use of, why we are studying in detail the cortex is, it is also helpful in the translocation of water and mineral salts. From where we will get this translocation of water and mineral salts? From root heads into, from root hairs to xylem. As we all know, the xylem is a water conducting tissue. Okay. Okay. Next, when we come to the study of cortex when we study the cortex with reference to succulent xerophytes, the major use of cortex will be here for the storage of the water. Now, these are the major functions of cortex. Here the first layer of the cortex is hypodermis, gives tensile and mechanical strength to the ground tissue or plant body. The major function is, it is useful for the storage of food material, and the chlorenchymatous cells which are present in the cortex helps in undergoing photosynthesis. Next, translocation of water and mineral salts occurs from root heads to xylem tissue. Next, in case of succulent xerophytes, these cortical cells are useful for the storage of water. Now, there is one more activity going on here. These cortical cells get converted into meristematic tissue. Now, in the case of emergency or in case of necessity, these cortical cells changes into meristematic tissue and show the phenomena of repeated cell division when there is a necessity required. Okay, these are the functions of cortex, and this is about cortex. Next.